Coon Hunting University is brought to you by Conkeys Outdoors, hunting and hound supply store. Find out more at conkeys.outdoors.com. And Superior Hunting Lights. Superior, step up to the max. Use discount code CHU podcast at checkout and receive 5% off on nighthunters.com. If you're in the market for a new dog box, go over and check out GNR Cedar Dog Boxes on Facebook, or go give Gavin a call at 615-962-5266.
Hey guys, today we sit down with a special guest, Mr. Dwane Boyd. He's an outstanding individual and a great friend of mine. He's going to go over how he began hunting and all the way up to 1996 when he run for National Mail Leader with Thunder's Wild Clyde and so on and so forth. So sit back and enjoy the show. How you doing, Dwayne?
I'm Dwane Boyd, 52 years old, married, got 2 kids, one 25 and 127. And got 3 stepkids. Worked at a pipe plant for right around 20 years till I messed up my back. And so here I am now.
Sitting here for the
talking coon hunting.
Go ahead and get her rolling. Can you take me back the first time you ever went coon hunting?
Oh, yeah. I lived next door to 4 brothers. 2 of them coon hunting, or what they called coon hunting, and they'd walk right in front of the house every time they'd go. The group, they were teenagers, and here I was, 8 years old, and them leading dogs, and I just thought, I want to just go see what's going on. So finally got Mom and Dad talked to me, let me go with them. And we walked right down behind the house on a big crate. The actual first night, they had a red tick. We got sitting there, and I could hear this dog barking off in the distance. They tell us that's old Spike. I think actually Spike was his name. And then we hear all kind of commotion, and damn, they jump up, and here we go. And we get in there, and this dog's got a big old beaver. Yep, that's come up a smaller creek somehow or another, and it's got a beaver. And let me tell you, a dog and a beaver don't run together. That beaver was slinging that dog around. The dog wasn't smart enough to just stop, But anyway, them boys ended up shooting that beaver and carrying it back home with. They thought, we got meat, I guess. I don't know. It just, you know how it is. Coon hunters listening right now is just something that hit me. And I played sports year round. So anything, action or me moving and running through the woods, that was just great for me.
Right.
That's how I got started. And then I'd go with them, 1 or 2 times a week. And I can remember right around that same time we got down on that creek, none of them boys, we didn't know, I didn't even know what a compass was, I don't guess. They didn't either. And I'm following them. So we get down on that creek one night, and this is right as I got started, and it was a school night. I never forget, we walked around in them woods, lost, and I've done got scared thinking I'm never going to go home, And it's starting to break daylight. I'm supposed to go to school. We hear somebody hollering, and it's my dad drove down the road about 5, you know where it is over there, where the bridge crosses the creek. Mm-hmm. He's up on that bridge hollering, which we didn't know it was him at first. He picks us all up 6 o'clock in the morning. We have walked around in them woods. We ain't treed nothing. We built a fire. All the dogs just laid down. They wouldn't even hunt, and they just laid by the fire with us.
How happy was he?
Surprisingly, I was scared. My dad was a big man, and And I know everybody's talked about, well, your daddy when he whipped you. My daddy when he whipped you, you know you took one. And he wasn't mad. And I remember because he always told the lady next door was like always, even when I got to coon hunting, was like, you let him go out in the woods, you know. And one of my dad's saying, if I can keep him in them woods, I keep him off that street. Mm-hmm. And that's a good thing. If a lot of guys now, you know, keep a lot of these kids now though are not. I mean, just between me and you now, everybody's hearing this, but a lot of them ain't tough enough. That they're not that tough like they used. You know, they so used to these video games and punching the phone, and you can't get them in the woods. But so I was 8 years old, and Daddy got me a dog. I wanted me a dog. So he went to the pound. Went to the dog pound. And he come back with this white. It was a hound. It was a hound. I don't know what it was, but it was white. Never forget, her name was June. So, you know, I was coon hunter then. So and we had, all I had at the time was just one of those little old, like D-cell batteries, you know? Flashlight, that was it. Well, finally, he bought me one of them, the 6-volt big square one. Boy, I thought I was something then, that thing, you know. But anyway, I would go, I ain't seen a coon yet. So.
How long has this been?
That would be probably a year or so, or a year and a half that I've been going.
You still hadn't
seen a coon yet. But we were coon hunting. We treated a bobcat in a cave one night. And you know how you're young, I'm thinking that bobcat's like a lion, and these other boys, we got a 410 and we got 2 shells. And I'm thinking I can see that bobcat back in there, and that dog was getting in there close to him, that same red tick. He wouldn't tree a coon, he'd tree beaver and a bob. But I'm scared that bobcat. Yeah, I'm scared that bobcat's just come out of there like a lion and just eat me and everything else. So I'm kind of getting off the mountain. Finally, I got Daddy to go, and my dad used to coon hunt some back. We're originally from Virginia. He went with me one night. Me and that older boy that lived next door, and we get down there on the creek, and we sitting around on a log there, and we can see the dogs the whole time. You know, they're not even 50 yards from us, and we sit there, and Daddy got to talking to me. He got down to where he said, "You really want to do this?" I said, "Oh my gosh, Daddy, I love it." Because they'd laugh at me. They always used to, you know, I'm 8 years old. They said I'd tree them the soap in the back to it. I'd be taking a bath and I'd be barking like a dog in there. You know, I'd be a ball, and then I'd go to chopping, and, you know, and so he said, "If you definitely want to do this," kept pushing me about it, and I said, "All right, you know," and he said, "Well, we're gonna get a dog." I thought, good. So Christmas was coming up. All I wanted was a coon dog. So I'll never forget it. We always did Christmas on Christmas Eve night. Mom would get Daddy to take me and my sister somewhere, and magically Santa Claus came when we got back. You know,
a little early.
Yeah, he done been there early, and we got lucky. When I come in, and there was a dog. I don't know what this. It was a cur. It wasn't a cur. It was part plot, but it didn't really look like a hound. He had kind of like short ears, and he's supposed to have been a treat coons and possums. So anyway, I got me a dog. So I had to go that night. I wasn't worried about next day Christmas. So me and my dad and them boys, we all took off over the hill down through and wasn't long, buddy, that little old dog was sitting there and there, ow, 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 and I would run through the woods, and none of them could keep up with. I was, you know, I was skinny, and like I said, I played sports year-round, quarterback. I pitched. I mean, I was a decent athlete. And I get in there, and they'd always know, even after we got on down the road to get to when we'd tree a coon, I'd get to the tree. Well, they would know if the dogs had a coon or not, because if they did, I'd go to screaming and hollering, and they'd know. Well, they got one. I can hear him in there. Anyway, get in there. That dog's got a possum, which I didn't care. Shot him out. We started hunting that little old dog, and we went and picked up a Walker female. And you could put them two together. They never did tree a coon. But we treed more possums. At one night, we treed 13 possums.
Oh, wow.
13 that we shot out. And I loved it. It was just, that was good I wished I still was that fun to me. Start competition, and it gets stressful then.
Possum ain't near as cool.
No, it ain't real cool. No. Everything is exciting when you go in there and there's one up that tree. So we didn't tree. Never was treeing coon. Now, you got to get to this now. I thought about this. We didn't have a truck. We would throw the dogs in the trunk of a car. That's how my dad had one of them big old hoopty looking Caprice, one of them big old long with a 454 in it. Whoop, you remember how that sounds? And we throw them dogs in that trunk. Well, everybody brought a dog. I mean, we'd be 7 dogs, 8 dogs. Literally, I know 7 one time. So when you got back there to open the trunk, you didn't know where yours was coming out at. Everybody had to circle the trunk. And get ready, dogs. Just don't matter what your daddy get on to us, because we'd be like trying to grab ours. Just grab one, and then we'll figure out who's is whose. Just stuff like that. And so finally, there was an old blue tick hound. Some other boys had there, and this dog, don't nobody know how old he was. He'd been a run over. He was toting his back leg. The boy, he was still in high school, and Daddy bought him for $50. And he knew they said he would tree a coon, but he treed possums too. So we got that dog, and I never forget. First night, we took him over there. We turned loose, and he didn't go 100 yards, and struck a tree. Got down there, and he had 2 coons. So, buddy, you
thought you was in heaven.
I had got me a coon dog. Well, that old dog, he would, we hunted there around here, and how rough it is here. Just wasn't no coons. And we finally figured out there's a management area down south, Okmulgee, and the National Forest. So we started going down there. We had one spot we would hunt the whole night. One spot. We'd park the truck and hunt this one spot. Well, that old blue tick, he would normally tree. The first 2 times he'd tree, he'd have coons. He'd get tired, and when he got tired, then he'd go treeing possums. But we shot the possums right along with the coons. I didn't know. I had got to get an American Cooner and reading about all them great dogs in there, So, can't remember what we did with that old blue tick. I think Daddy traded him to another boy eventually for a Ruger 22 that I still got. Still got it, and I was probably 10 years old, so I know it's 40-something years old. Got to reading in the American Cooner, same dog in there for sale. I never dreamed of Daddy buying me no dog, especially for $1,000. I was like, ain't no way. Well, anyway, got to talking to this guy. He was out of Waycross, Georgia. Me, my dad, we'd got a truck by then. Let me tell you one other thing real quick before that. But so when we get a truck, this boy had built us a box to put on that truck. It didn't have no floor in it. It was just sides and top. And wanted to use it on my dad's truck. We at the time, Daddy bought a truck then. And like I said, we'd stuff them dogs in there. It would be like you just had to push them on in there, you know. And man, dog, they'd be fighting. And one time they got to fighting. We're going down the highway and they got to fighting so much the box, they done flipped the box up sideways. So they're just can jump out. They want to. They're, you know, and I'm crying. They're going to, you know, out, going to get in the road. I'll never forget that. You know how you look back now. That's so funny. But anyway, me and my mom, dad, and my sister, we all load up in a single cab truck, which we were little, you know, sitting in the middle. Wasn't that big a deal. But we took off to Waycross, Georgia. And Danny Tootin, Buddy DeLitri can still tell you about him if people talk to Buddy. They're down there by Buddy. And we go down there, try a dog out. I had never been around a bunch of water hunting. You know, it was up here in these hills and just little creeks. So we get down there. The guy says, we going to the Okefenokee Swamp. And I'd heard about that, either a history book or something other, or something I had read at school. So we get down there, and then, I'm not kidding you, which would be no big deal now because I've hunted with good dogs and know. But we get on this road and it's kind of built up, and he walks that dog out there, and tree line is like 300 yards in there, and all we can see is water and grass. That dog leaves us swimming. I thought, we ain't treeing no coon here, you know. Ended up that dog treed 2 coons, and we bought him and brought him back home. So that was my first. Now that was probably my first. What I say, coon. He wasn't great, but that was my coon dog then. Right. In my bedroom, I put on the wall a piece of paper, and every coon I'd tree, I marked it on marks, you know. So we had got that dog probably like, I knew it was still cold. So in August he got sick. And I hadn't had him about 4 or 5 months. And, you know, that was back as far as we knew. We didn't know a whole lot about heartworms, and didn't really nobody, you know, at the time that wasn't a big thing. And he died. He'd treated 17 coons for like 4 or 5 months. All the boys thought I had the best dog around. Everybody wanted to go with old Buck. That was his name. So, end up from there, I ain't got nothing. No, you know.
How old are you by now?
I'm still probably 10. Yeah. And an old man that lived out by us that had the only night champion. And, you know, boy, I thought a night champion was, if you got a night champion, you got the real deal. Right. But this dog was a good dog. He was just mean. You couldn't hunt nothing with him. You had to hunt him by yourself. And you could road hunt him, and he'd just tree coon after coon after coon. You just put him up in front of the truck, he'd just trot down the road. And he wouldn't take off running, just easy and off in a ditch. He'd check it. He'd go check the next ditch. And you know how most of the time a dog running the road, he hits a coon that's red hot and probably ain't going to be 50 yards off the road. And that old man liked that. It was fun to me too, because I'd go with him, and man, we'd treat 5 or 6 coons, you know, and 5 was the limit. So they shot out everything. To get back to where after that dog died, that old man, his son lived up in Scottsboro, and knew this guy that they said had a good dog, wanted to sell. Like I said, we didn't have him. Man, growing up, I lived in the house might have been 700 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2 bedrooms, kitchen, bath, and living room. But my granddaddy, we had to go get him, so he's in one room. So I'm having to sleep in the room with my mom and dad, and my sister's sleeping on the couch at this time.
Mm.
But so we didn't have a lot, didn't have a lot of money. But anyway, Daddy, my mom, if I wanted it, my mom was gonna get it. If I just, if it wasn't something bad, she was gonna
find a way.
Yeah, which Daddy would too. But I knew how to work Mom. She was easier to work than Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so Daddy gets talking to this guy, and we just go by the dog. It was $1,300, and Daddy talked to that man for 2 weeks before he wanted to give that $1,300, And we go up there and we get this little old dog, and the weirdest thing, Mason, that dog, we get him to the house and we start hunting him. And I'm telling you the truth, for the first month, he made trees. Never had nothing. I'm discouraged, I'm thinking. And we had went down, way down south to a man's there called the Scotch, Grove Hill. Some people, Mark Hall hunts down there at that big place that he used to hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Where they put on some of them big hunts,
around Jackson.
Around Jackson. Which now, that man's area we were hunting wasn't nothing like that river bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But he should have had coons there, As a matter of fact, one night we turned him loose on a coon across the road, and he run it in there probably a half mile, treed big poplar, didn't have it.
He did a thyroid pill.
Yeah, I just didn't know it at the time. I guess he needed a thyroid to check for her lick, yeah.
That's right.
So we've camped out in the back of that truck, me, my dad, and my buddy Ronald Rollins. Which he's pray for old Ronald. He's in the hospital right now, had a stroke. We decide we ain't gonna stay way down here. We're like 4 hours from the house, so we decided that this is on Saturday. We just load up everything, and we're just gonna come back through to where that old Muggy mansion there is, hunt there that night, and then we can just come on home. So we come back, and I can still show you the place, the turn loose that I'm a believer. A dog comes here, he's accurate. You might can help him a little bit, but they got, you see puppies 8 months old, they start treating coons, and they got them, and they always got them.
Got it or they don't.
That's right. But you tell me this, how it is, I got no clue. But that dog, we turned him loose, and he went through yonder and got treed. I'm not excited. I'm going there, and he's got 3 up a tree. And we shoot one out to him, and from then on, when that joker treed, he had a coon. It wasn't one of these deals. Well, I wonder if John was treed, there's a coon up that tree. You just go to him. It was, coon. And you tell me why. It's crazy, ain't it?
It is. I have no idea.
I hear people talk about, and that's another thing. I just think the good ones now, the one, the type that I want, I just think I can hand him to you, and you take him, he's going to tree a coon, and you can bring him back and hand him to our buddy little Bill Cox, and he'll go tree a coon for Bill,
Mm-hmm.
I just, that all this giving 2 or 3 weeks, taking up with you, I don't, that kind of scares me off from buying a dog. I just, every one of the good ones I've had, didn't matter who turned it loose. It was
Same dog.
Same dog, So that's got me to where I've got a good dog. He was a good dog. This dog. So I get to reading about these hunts now. Boy, and I begged him, take me. when we started going up to some PKC hunts and little buddy hunts over at Dora with Terry Nix and Johnny Brown. What's his name from lived in Coleman, had the pawn shop.
Danny Byram.
Danny Byram, all them Amazing Red, all them Jar was over there. I mean, you know.
Big time dog.
Big time dog, yeah. You know, and my dad is friends with Jackie Alexander that bought Jar originally from Russ Beller and Wayne Green. And give $6,000 and flew him in. And now $6,000 back then, I mean, that was like...
It's $50,000
yeah,
now.
Yeah, I mean, I just couldn't imagine it, you know.
Are you in the market for a new dog box and just don't know which one to get? That's where I encourage you to go check out GNR Cedar Dog Boxes, especially if you're wanting something different. GNR Cedar Dog Box was established in 2016 when two avid hunters wanted a dog box that was affordable and great looking at that. They provide a high quality, handmade, lightweight box to the customers. They take pride in the fact that their boxes are fully cedar, which will last a lifetime in all types of weather conditions. Cedar also ensures your hounds stay a little warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer. You can find out more about GNR Cedar Dog Boxes on Facebook. Find them at GNR Cedar Dog Boxes or give them a call at 615-962-5266. They are located in Lawrenceburg, Tennessee, USA.
But finally I get Daddy, he's going to take me to a UKC hunt. Very first hunt I ever been to. And I've got that John dog. Go down there, and all I knew, they told me to, when my dog barked, say strike so-and-so, and when he treed, the tree, you know. Which I had the rules there, but I didn't know, you know. They just told me the main thing to do, and but I did it too that night. Ronald was with me and my dad. They walked along with me, and here I am. I ain't 11 years old, and I'm a little old skinny runt. Shoot, before long, I done had 325 plus. I was putting it on him. And I remember the first time I treed the dog, I would tree him on first bark up a tree, you know. And my dad and Ronald was over there. They just shaking their head no. And now they've got me mad, like, why are they getting on to me? He's trees, you know? But anyway, we get back to the clubhouse, and this is what's funny. I stood by that master of hounds for 3 hours, probably waiting on the other cast, watching them cards. You know how UKC don't want you to see the scores. Well, I got over there where I could see when he'd get the card, he'd pick it up, and dang, I won that whole hunt. Well, buddy, I was...
Lit the fire.
Unreal. Yeah, unreal. Like I was telling you, I had that thing on the wall, marking coons. Well,
marking cast wins now.
No, I didn't. I wished I'd have thought about that. But I get out a calendar. Cooner, and it may have been the Bloodlines too at the time, I don't remember when, but PKC wasn't, it was around here but not big, and which I wasn't ready to go to, none of them. But anyway, so Friday, Saturday night, I've got a hunt somewhere. I wrote it down. My dad would, and I'm not no lie, for probably 3 years, Friday and Saturday night, I'm somewhere. Daddy would pay this boy to take me on Friday night because he worked second shift. Didn't actually pay the boy, but we had another dog. Daddy would let him hunt him, and then I would hunt the little John dog. It took me forever to win another cast. and this little dog was a good little dog, but I didn't know it. I know now. I get people call it hunt wise or something, but he got to where when you take him to a hunt, he just he come in back in. He was a hard hunter. I mean, pleasure hunting, you drop him, I mean, you just found him somewhere with a coon. But I could take him to a hunt, and he'd walk with us, trot around, be about get scratched. But, I know I've got a dog that I can win with. But ended up, traded him with a lot of people. Listen to this, and know a guy named Wade Hill from Tennessee. They ended up with that little dog. And they went on and placed him in at that time, ACHA World Hunt was the World Hunt. Mm-hmm. That was big hunt. And they got him in the top 20. It's been several years since I had seen Wade, and I seen him up at tennis court. I don't remember, Breeders' Hunt, I think, one year. And got to ask him about him, and he said one night that dog, he just treated 2 or 3 coons with him. He was a dog you didn't even have to put him on a leash, real smart. So he come in, trotted around the truck there to go to load up, and just fell over. And something was wrong with his heart. Mm. And I probably was something to do with probably when I had him. I don't know, but they loved him. So, it's one of them deals. That's kind of...
Where did Harold Edwards come along?
So, about that time, I started hunting the UKC hunts. And down in that Madison area where I was telling you about what you've been in there, Oak Muggy. Back then, everybody stayed on CB radio. Coon hunters did. And there was a lot of coon hunters then. I mean, now you can go through there, you won't see none. But back then, you'd have to get on there and say, is anybody on 702? That they had road numbers, you know what I'm talking about, and make sure nobody was down there, stuff like that. We got over there, and one night another guy gets on there, and he's done got stuck over there on the where the dinky line is, what they call the dinky line. Mm-hmm. So Daddy, he's gonna go around there to help him, and we get around there, and there's a couple other trucks there, and they had, back at that time, very few people had 4-wheel drives. I mean, it just, you never seen them much. And this guy had a big old Ford something, I don't know what it was, big old tires on it. And he had this thing buried, and there's this old man there in a little old Nissan Datsun, they called it then. Little old bitty thing, had a winch on it, and we have done tied Daddy's truck to it. It's a full size, and another full size in front of Daddy's truck, and we've tried to pull it, and we can't even get it to, or they can't get this thing to budge. It ain't moving nothing. Well, that old man, he pulls up, and if anybody's ever met Harold, kind of wish we could have got him here, because he's funniest.
One of a kind.
But one thing about Harold, if Harold's got the dog at his house,
coon dog,
you can believe that. It's going to tree coons. It ain't going to make no bunch of slick trees. And it's most likely going to be a real good track dog. But I don't know Harold. I know the guy that's with him. Well, Harold, we're over there, and I'm the smallest one. I'm the only one who can get under there and tie chains on this truck. And old Harold's sitting back there, and he opens up his door, and he sticks his head out. Get out of the way! He gets this high voice. Get out of the way! Let me come around the other side. And the guy that's with him, he's done over, and on the other side is almost over his boots, and he's having to just ease along. He told Harold, said, Harold, you can't come around this way. Hey, buddy, I got buckshot tires. He thought because he had them buckshots, people may remember, and they still have buckshots, I don't know, but, and they're telling him, you can't, he said, he's done got it in reverse, backing up. He's supposed to get him a run at this thing, you know. And I'm like, you know, just a kid, and I'm laughing, and it's funny to me. And they finally keep him from it. So they end up tying his truck. We've got 3 trucks tied together on dry ground, and we can't move this truck. So Harold, let me try to figure a way to make this quick, this story, because it's funny. But anyway, Harold and the guy, Billy Smith, that owned the truck, they decide the only way they're going to get this truck out is go get a wrecker. So Harold said, come on, I'll take you. So they load up, and him and Harold and that Datsun, well, didn't know it. Neither one of them liked each other. So they take off. They leave us. Well, like I said, we're on a dinky line. It's an old railroad track, and you can see forever. If you see a light, you know how far you see. I mean, 2-3 miles.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done got us a big fire built. And me and Ronald, buddy, I was telling you about a minute ago, we're sitting around. We just listen to these old men, you know, talking, and it's just hilarious, some of the stuff. And I'm the youngest, so they want to pick on me. And so we sit there 45 minutes or longer, hour. And I said, there they come. I see a light in the road. Well, it's just one vehicle. It pulls into the end of the road, and it stops. Somebody gets out with a light, and here they come walking. And it takes them 15 minutes as far as it was, you know, to get to us. And it's that Billy Smith. It's the one that owned the truck. Well, somebody asked him, where's Harold at? Oh, God. And he don't, it's quick. He said, he's over there laying on the side of the road. I cut his blank throat. I kind of get over close to my dad now, you know. I'm thinking, no. Well, one of them said, no, seriously, where's he? He said, I'm telling you, he's over there laying on the side of the road. I done cut his throat. Well, now I'm scared, you know, because it's supposed to be the guy that's done cut the man's throat. I get over by there, and everybody kind of gets quiet. You can tell it's tension. Harold has done burnt the clutch out.
Oh, no.
In his little Datsun, the little monster Datsun. So Daddy has to load up and takes the guy over there, get back with a wrecker. We tie that wrecker, and it about flips that wrecker over. The front wheels come up, and the guy is a younger guy running, and he gets scared. He said, man, I don't know what to do. So we decide we're all just going to have to load up and put as many in each truck we can get. When now Harold's up there, he's got no clutch. He can't drive his. And if anybody on here can ask James Love about Harold Edwards driving, and you'll get some of the funniest story. James Love said he'd walk before he ever got back in the truck with that man. But anyway, so we get up there, and they're going to have to go get a big 18-wheeler. One of them kind of, that's what they had to get this truck out the next day. You know, we've all loaded up. We go up there to Harold. Well, they're going to tie Harold's truck. He's got a winch on it to my dad's truck. Mm. So we get to now we're 70 miles from the house, probably 75. So we start pulling, and we're like packed in my dad's truck. There's, I don't know how many people were sitting actually on the seat, but 2 were in lap. Me and another boy is sitting in laps. So we get back to the highway to the on-ramp, and we come down the on-ramp, getting onto the highway, and my dad says, What's this? What's he doing? What's this guy? What's Harold doing back here? He has done slingshot around us. He's done come up beside us, and he's tied to us, and he's tied, and you know, and all of a sudden when that slack caught, Man, it about throwed us all through the window. This goes on the rest of the way home. We cannot keep him from coming out. Anytime he could get more speed anyway, or we'd slow down, he'd come out and get to laughing, thought that was funny. Yeah, he slingshotted like in racing, you know, he like slingshot around us. Well, my dad was like, Lord have mercy, what, you know, my dad's real serious, you know. And so anyway, we get home, we get him to his house, and gets his dogs all put up, and next day or so he called somehow he got Daddy's number and wanted to see if we wanted to go hunting, and me and Ronald started hunting with him. I was 11 years old, and so he's been good to me. He was like a second dad to me. A lot of people don't like him because he's going to be straight with you. Mm-hmm. And, you know, a lot of times people want a straight answer, but then you give them a straight answer, they don't like it.
Right.
And he likes to joke, and some people don't know how to take his jokes. You know, he's loud. But I get to hunt with him. Like I said, I would say out of all the people around here, probably Harold's had some of the best coon dogs that probably I just know. You know, he got to where he couldn't competition hunt, so he'd just tell me, go out there and pick one, you know, take it and hunt it, take it to a hunt, whatever. So here I am, I'm 11 years old, and I knew it. Then I had a real good dog, you know. Mm-hmm. So I started hunting for him right at 11 years old. And other times, you know, I was always good at winning my cast. I might not come in with a big score, but I could win my cast back when I was young. So, you know, we might go to a hunt, and if I didn't have a dog, somebody just, here, hunt this dog. I ain't never even heard it. It always seemed weird. I could win better the one I had never heard than the ones I heard, you know. I think you just you're more slow and careful of what you do, and you don't make no mistakes.
Try to not take any chances.
Play more defense. Mm-hmm. And so that's where me and Harold's relationship started.
Going back to his driving, y'all were in a pretty serious wreck, weren't you?
Yeah, and the funny thing, he wasn't driving.
I thought he was.
No, he wasn't driving that night. Another boy was, and 2 miles up the road, everybody woke up. We're all three in the front seat, which back in, nobody wore no seat belts. Just wasn't, you know, people, you remember kids would be in the back of the truck, and you don't see that no more. Right. And, which I've showed you where we wrecked. We coming down Highway 5 down there, and you come off a hill, and we had already crossed the oncoming lane and went off in a ditch that's just big enough for your truck to get in it. And we hit the side of another road, a big old pipe.
Over.
And I don't know how it didn't kill us, but what was funny about that wasn't funny, but it is funny. So here I am, I was 13 at this time. It was in 83. And I'd watch TV. You know how on TV you see cars smoke and they'd blow up and pieces would go flying everywhere. Well, I'm sitting in the middle, and I have done, it's thrown me through, I don't know it at the time. I knew it was a rough ride. I didn't know what happened, but I had hit the front windshield, and it, you know, has that, whatever that stuff is in the windshield that won't really let it, like a glass, actually break all the way.
Yeah.
Well, it caught my hair, and a big chunk of my hair was still in that windshield. Yeah. Lucky it didn't kill me. I don't know how it didn't. Knocked out 5 of my teeth. So the floorboard was split open, and smoke's just from the water. We're down in a ditch of water, and it's coming up in the cab. Well, old Harold, hey, it's gonna blow. It's gonna. Man, that freaked me out. I don't know if I hit him, but I jumped him, and it was a step-side truck. I jumped over him. He's in the passenger side. I jumped him, swung around to the step on the step side, jumped out to the. And now this is a main highway, but it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Ain't nobody. But I hit, and I can feel something hanging on my lip. I don't have not have no pain yet. I guess I'm in shock, whatever. And I reach up, and it's one of my teeth hanging over, and it's just hanging by skin, you know. And I've done figured it out, and now I can feel something sticking me all across there. Well, I pulled that tooth out, and I don't know around that time, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I can remember people. It was on the news or TV about take that if a kid knocks his tooth out, stick it in milk. I didn't have no milk, but I stuck it in my back pocket. I took off running.
Conkeys Outdoors knows that keeping up with the latest in hunting technology can be expensive. That's why they are proud to offer amazing financing options from 30 days same as cash to 0% interest for 6, 9, 12, and even 18 months, depending on your credit score and the amount you spend. If you've been eyeballing that new thermal or want to upgrade to the latest in tracking system technology, go find out more on the web at conkeysoutdoors.com, or if you're in the Hastings, Florida area, stop by and visit. They'd love to have you. Conkeys Outdoors, houndsman helping houndsman.
Now, when I'm telling you running, I was running, buddy. I had done made it probably nearly a half a mile from that truck, because I thought any minute, bloom, it's going to be an explosion, you know.
You're going to be nowhere close.
Nowhere close. and this woman and man run me down in a car and got me in the back seat of the car, and they just kept me awake because I'd hit that window, you know, which I was just sleepy anyway, probably, I don't know, but get to the hospital, and then I look in them, and I can see just white. I thought my teeth was jabbed back into my gums out of sight, you know. But what it was, it had broke them off and crushed all the bone, and the bone was sticking out, little pieces. But we made it through that. Finally, I would handle dogs from on and off, but back to starting out as far as going to the hunts, like I was telling you about, they had Terry, Nix, and Johnny and them had a club there in Dora. My mama would take me up there. Daddy worked second shift, so my mom would take me. I'd load my dog in the back, in the trunk, the car. She'd take me up there, and Johnny and Terry and Billy Trice, you know, they'd take care of me, you know. And I'd hunt the hunt. Well, Daddy would be there waiting on me. He after second shift, and I mean, like I said, I was eat up with it. You know, I had to go every chance I got. But back kind of moving along through there, I had bought this guy was hunting with Harold, and good dog trainer. Didn't hunt the hunts, but if he had it, he hunted it by itself. It was going tree coons, and got to going down meeting him and Harold Foster's. Harold had the best hunting in within 100 miles of here.
Legally?
Yeah, legally. That's something he used to always tell us. You see that private property sign? He said, I'm the president of that club. He didn't, you know, I remember times he'd let us out in a cornfield. He'd get in a truck and about go to sleep, and he'd tell us how he had all this permission, and oh yeah, buddy, they don't care. I remember this one night, me and another boy, we're out, you know, trying to play, you know, right around the truck, goofing off. Dogs is in a cornfield back there running, and we see a we can't see the car, but we can see the lights coming over a hill. And Harold said, get in the truck, boys, hurry. We can't get to the truck. He took off.
Oh, no.
The dog doors is a-flying, and here we are. We have to run off in that cornfield and hide. Harold's gone. He done left us. About 10, 15 minutes, he comes back. Well, that other boy, he was in his 20s. He said, Harold, he said, I thought you had permission. He said, well, that was about 25 years ago I had permission. I ain't real sure if it's the same people anymore. So, yeah, now we're, in a mess. One time he had us down there. He'd just see a cornfield off the side of the interstate. And he'd say, we'll hit that late tonight. So we go in this one, we see it on the side of 2059 now, there around Utah exit. Mm-hmm. We go in there, sure enough, trees and cones, but it's daylight. And we come it's just broke daylight. And we come out, and an old woman and an old man's out there hoeing. And Harold, he just, yeah. And we're in their field, Mm-hmm. Just stuff like that. A lot of people used to get mad at him because he didn't care. Yeah, he would just anything. So another time I could tell. We could sit here for days and we tell stories, and if you could get Avery and Billy Bell sit here, they can tell you stuff that Harold's done and keep you laughing.
I plan on getting Billy on here by himself before too long.
Yeah, get him on Harold, because Harold, one time we were down there and was hunting in the river bottoms where he was legally to be. Like I said, now it's a fenced in. It's 4,500 acres fenced in, and ride a four-wheeler and touch every tree. Never take a step. And I don't know if he still got all that because, all this back trouble I've had, I hadn't been able to hunt, go with him no more. And, but this man comes up to us down there and said, hey, y'all ain't seen a horse, had you? And, no, we ain't seen no horse. And he said, well, my horse got out, and he said, I can see where it come running down this road down through here. He said, but I can't get around that gate that goes back in on the river. Well, old Harold, we'll go help you, buddy. We'll go help you find it. So we take off. Sure enough, we get way down on the river which cornfields are everywhere in this place. Just as good a hunt as you want to hunt. And there's that horse. So I've had horses. My dad's got horses now, and so they get over there, and I have done got my back messed up. I'm not gonna mess with this. I know this probably ain't gonna be smart.
You see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, and if it turns out good, but I'm still leery of it. Look, y'all do what y'all want to do. Well, the man pulls up there. Well, they get a rope tied just around his neck, just around the neck. No halter, nothing. Well, the guy said, I ain't got no trailer. I can't get him back up there to the house now. His house is about 4 or 5 miles now. Harold's, oh, no, buddy, I'll get him there. So Harold ties him to the four-wheeler, ties him to his rack back there on the four-wheeler, and horse is acting, he's fine. We're going to let him trot along with us, take him back up there to the man. About that time, Harold fired that four-wheeler up, and that horse took off with Harold on that four-wheeler now. Harold's going backwards through the cornfield. They're tearing corn up. We can't even see him. You can just see the corn going down through yonder like a maze, And Harold, he's hey, how did you get this blank and a blank? And he won't turn his engine off, and this horse is And, you know, once a horse gets turned going away from you, he's got the strength on you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can kind of handle him more if he's
backing
kind
up.
of looking at you or just backing up himself. He had done got turned full. He's knocking corn down everywhere, buddy. The funniest thing, but that's just stuff like that. And you never want to leave anything yours for him to fix, because his main thing was hot glue. One of them guns.
Mm-hmm.
So I left in my spotlight going to the tree. I'll fix it. While you going to the tree, I get back. The whole coat, the whole front of the lens has got that stuff all over it. It's just ruined it, you know. I don't say nothing to him because he's given me so much stuff and bought me light, you know. But he would tear it up. He would get them trackers, take them apart for what I don't know. My brother-in-law, he was a electrical engineer, and he's like, Harold, you ain't supposed to be handling them boards in there like that. Harold, throw it in the back of the truck. Right, another time, here's what was. Another one was, I'll tell you two more quick ones before we move on with Harold. But I would probably remember more if we get on down through there. So one night, he would just, when we got through hunting, he wouldn't even take his light off. He'd just jump in the truck. We'd take off back toward the house. Well, I get out of the truck and I go in the store. I come back out. I see a black cord hanging out the side of his door. I thought, what in the world? Get over there. His light, it had dropped it down. The head's gone. It's done busted the head. It ain't nothing but a black cord. He's done drugged that thing down the highway. So another time, Al Nunman has come down to hunt with us. And it was the first pro hunt I'd ever hunted old Clyde in when we get to him. But so I'm on the four-wheeler. They're riding the truck. I've gone around this field. One of the dogs treated Coon when I got him. I'm coming back up there, and I'm looking at that. They're moving across a road, and I can see them way up there. And I can tell something just don't look right. They're pulling a trailer. I get up there. Well, Harold would never put a pin in the trailer. He'd just pop it down and go. It's going to come loose. And all this, the chains is what's pulling it. And it's like a tractor digging a ditch. They've dug a ditch for 2 miles around this
drop the plow.
Yeah. What are you talking about, buddy? I said, something's happened back here. He said, well, I thought it felt like this truck was a little weak. Same night now. So Al, he was in his truck, I'm riding with Harold, and we coming back up through Tuscaloosa, and when you cross the river bridge, Harold's got more tickets and wrecks than anybody you'll ever think of. So we're coming up through there, state trooper pulls us over. Harold said, I know what he got us for. So Harold jumps out of the truck before the state trooper. State trooper's like, sir, stay. Buddy, I know. I've worked on them lights all day today. Them lights on the back of the trailer, they just ain't right, are they? And the man said, no. He said, sir, there's something under your truck. All the way from the front of your truck all the way out the back of the trailer is fire, just sparks is going everywhere. And Harold said, what? The winch line has done something, and it is running under the truck all the way back under the trailer, and we're out on the main highway, and it's a sparking fire. We're dragging it down the road.
So rock on a little bit. Where did the first, you said, real winter you had with Forest Wood Dan?
Yeah, I had there when I was telling you about the guy that trained dogs good. I'd go down and meet Harold, and he had a little dog named Rebel, and I had just got married didn't have two nickels to rub together, and I was a $1,500 man. That was my price.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I couldn't get it for $1,500, I probably wasn't going to get it.
Right.
And anyway, he had this dog, and I had rode over to the ACHA World Hunt the year it was in Columbus, Mississippi. And Harold told me, he said, "Hey," he said, "old Jimmy Ray's going to sell that dog." He said, "That's a good dog, the Rebel dog." So I get started on buying it. I don't know if me and him one got mixed up on the price, but I about know he told me $1,200 at the hunt. And so I told him, I said, "Well, next weekend I'll come down, go hunting." That's fine. So I go down there with him, and we just hunt that one dog. I think he treated 2 or 3 coons, and so I had my money with me. Got back up there to the. And he said $2,000. I couldn't come up with $2,000 at the time, you know. So go home. Ended up. I went and borrowed the rest of the money and bought that dog. Well, that's how I got to knowing that Jimmy Ray. And everybody all down through Tuscaloosa can tell you, if he had it, and he trained one dog, and it was going to be a good dog. Mm-hmm. So it gets on. I get to looking for. I had quit. Got to riding horses. My dad walking horses, but he was using them racking, and I got to figuring out it wasn't for a poor man, and it was too much politics in it. Mm-hmm. You know, it was always somebody else's, another man's decision on who won.
Right.
But most of the time, the better horse, I ain't going to say that, because most of the time you go, the better horse, you can usually pick the one that's going to win. But anyway, I didn't know enough about training them horses, and my dad, he always, he's still doing it right now. He's probably at the barn as we speak. I mean, that's his thing. I had sold that Rebel dog to, you may not remember, probably don't remember the dog, but there was an English dog back then named Bluegrass Amos.
I've heard of it.
That boy had sold Amos to Roland Dickey, had got back into it. Roland Dickey was the god of English breed. He owned Junior, Blue Boy Red, all them, Sandy that won the World Hunt. I mean, he kept good dogs too. And him and Harold were buddies. They aluminum side and stuff together. But anyway, that boy sold Amos, and Harold went with him. And this is the first time they said, Harold said there was $15,000 in a brown paper sack. And they met him in a hotel room. He bought that dog for $15,000, and that was just like unheard of, you know?
Yeah.
And so I rode horses there for about a year, and it just wasn't that competitive thing that I needed, you know? I just like to compete. I don't care if me and you throwing rocks, see if we can hit that house over yonder. I'm going to try to outdo you. It's just that way, you know. You're the same way, a competitor. You got it in you. You just want to compete.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew dogs enough, and I had more sway into being able to win by getting my dog ready or getting better or whatever than waiting on one man's decision of which one of y'all win. So Harold said, well, they say Jimmy Ray's got a good dog. I called him, he wants $2,500. Dwayne ain't got $2,500. Like I said, I'm just married, making $8.95 an hour. I'm making it, but I don't have that kind of money, just extra laying around.
Right.
So Harold said, well, let's buy him together. So I said, All right, so I went and got him. And he's a little old, almost looked like a high tan. Just solid black brown down his legs. He was off Rock River Banjo. If anybody ever seen him that won the World Hunt, like 84, somewhere right in that time. 82 to 86, I'm going to say that area. Look just like him. So go get that dog. I would say I can give you people's number, like Billy Trice is well respected. That dog, probably far as just treeing coons. Well, he treed 290 something one year that just he treed. Not going pleasure hunting with people, and but that he treed. He could just, and he was a track dog. A lot of people, he barked a lot on the ground, straight chop, but people would think, man, that dog's running a deer, and I'd be just wait 4 or 5 minutes. Wow. And he was one of these that I heard Barry talking about Zeb again, going to maybe 5 trees that he didn't see a coon in a year. And I could probably say that dog was this dog, but he was a track dog. He was more track dog than tree dog. He's a hard tree dog, but what I'm just saying is he would rather run. So me and Harold got him together, and I started putting him in the hunts. Shoot, I was 800 plus. I mean, he could demolish you. Dogs packed up, no beating him. First and first, had a coon. I mean, he could just run the score up. But the funny thing about him, people that know Brian Skinner, he had bought him from me. I bought that dog and sold him like 3 times. And I'd get something else, and it wouldn't compare to him, and I'd go back and get him back. But here was his problem. If he didn't have this problem, which I know that people sit there and say, yeah, I've had a lot of them, but I'm telling you, that hunt, you got him treed somewhere, and I'm telling you, I mean, when he treed, I just go in there knowing he's got a coon. It wasn't just guessing like, oh, I hope or whatever, So I let Skinner have him. Well, Skinner wants me to take him to a pro hunt. Well, before the pro hunt comes back up, I've done bought him back. But Skinner in the deal, he said, I'm going to still pay for that entry. We'll just split. So I go down there, first pro hunt that I've ever been in. Russ Beller's there. Jackson boys are there.
Nervous as a cat.
Nervous as, I've seen these people in the magazine, and I'm thinking, man, reading these articles, these dogs are just, I'm out for just this. I ain't got a prayer.
Right.
Get on that cast. And I had never been around dogs like pro type dogs, or like dogs are now, just complete loners. Back then, most time they was packed up. And
calling contest, and I was good calling. Only guy I ever drew, Ronnie Nickens. I would be thinking about the time I'd be thinking the tree, he done treed. And I was normally, I could call with any, which you know as well as I know, if they run them wide open the pack, I'm treeing the first one box up the tree. It right. Might not be mine, but they all gonna be there. If I don't have first, I don't want it.
Yeah. So, but I get out there on this cast, and I don't remember what dogs they were, or whatever. But boy, I get first strike, and he just burns one down there 200 yards. Wow! I thought, this is easy. Well, them dogs get down there and get to trailing around him. Couldn't take it. He wanted to go. Now, like I said, if they would split tree and stay treed, he could split tree with them all night. But if they come by him,
He wanted to run.
he wanted to go. And I seen, you know, right at that moment, I wasn't probably thinking about it, but so I don't even remember. I knew I took 2 or 3 tree mines, and I didn't even get close to winning the cash or nothing, you know, but I stayed to hunt the open hunt because I've never really hunted PKC. I started hunting PKC in '83, and I still got the certificate. First little hunt I won, PKC, Terry Nix signed they used to give these little certificate-like deals. And I still got the first one. I think me and Johnny Brown, I think I got like $20 or something, but I thought that was just, you know, man.
You won the world.
Yeah. So, but I got back in there with Dan. I go back and hunt the open the next night. Hell, I come in with 600 and some points the next night. But I drew pack dogs.
Yeah.
And a high scoring dog of the open hunt. So from there, I keep him around there back and forth. Like I said, I'd buy him and sell him back and forth. Well, Harold had this little female named Millie. Pretty sure her mama, that her daddy was a deer dog probably that got to her, to the mama. The mama was a good little old granite bitch that was from down in that area. Well, Harold got this Millie female, and some people have known Stan Phillips down from, you know, in Reform down that way. He got the male dog. They were up to like 8 months old, and their tree comes just like old dogs. Well, this whole time I'm still hunting with Harold, and I don't know, a few months after that, it comes around that there's a half sister to Millie that's out of the old hardwood buster that Ronnie Nickens had, where Coma came from. He had bred Sheena to the old hardwood buster dog. Was produced a lot of good dogs, but, you know, wasn't as well known, but as far as down in this area, you'd seen a lot of them. But them 2 females, we was talking about Dan a while ago about it being really a track dog, could fly. And I mean, he could fly. People thought he'd run deer. But we got Millie and Bonnie. Well, Bonnie was like a little year or so younger than Millie. Millie was more tight on the ground until she got to open, and then she'd be wide open. But she was normally a 50-25 strike, and I always wanted to hunt her in a hunt. Harold thought, because she's such a low strike dog, he kept thinking she can't win. But every cast I put her in, I never lost any kind of cast with her. Now, I didn't put her in a bunch, but she was so accurate. Dogs could come up slick, she'd be sitting over there 50, 100 yards, you know. So we got hunting them 2 dogs. Well, meantime, I had got to trying to find me something else to hunt. And we would use Bonnie and Millie to go test them with.
Mm-hmm.
And
measuring stick.
There you go. And when a lot of people, you can ask probably Phil Cullison up in Indiana, Illinois. I can't remember what state he lives in, but he's right there on the line of both of them. Millie, if I was to guess, she'd come out of that deer dog or that fox dog or whatever he was, because her and that Bonnie bitch, and this is no lie, they would catch 20 to 30 coons a year on the ground. Mm. And it wasn't one of them deals that you hear dogs running wide open in there and they shut off, or somebody comes up, well, they probably caught him. They couldn't kill a coon. So we'd have to go in there and, they get him wounded, but they couldn't kill him. So we knew they caught it because we'd have to go down there. And I can remember Harold had bought a Grand Night bitch from the Becks, Brent and Sandra Beck, out of people that know them out of Oklahoma. Matter of fact, they owned part of Bad Habit at one time. He had bought a Grand Night English bitch from them, and we had Millie, Dan and the English bitch. And they got to run the Coon one night. And they come up where we hunted. We were out on the main road, and in the field probably.
Hey, y'all, this is Tyler, your host of Coon Hunting University. I'm here to talk to you about extreme dog fuel. Whether you're looking for a 30-20, 24-20, 26-18, or a 22-12, they have any type of food that us coon hunters need. I'd like to issue a thank you to them for making Coon Hunting University podcast possible. So go to extremedogfuel.com and find a retailer near you and give them a try. I love it. I've been blown away. I swapped to the 30-20, and I honestly hadn't looked back. I mean, I love it. I really do. And I encourage everyone to go over there to extremedogfuel.com. Check them out. Find a retailer near you. Read all about it. You'll see why I swapped to Extreme Dog Fuel.
I don't know, half a mile, and then it went off the bank into the river, and it was kind of a little area down on the river that they could still had ground to run off. It didn't just go straight into the river. Well, they got to running in there one night, and Millie comes up, just you can barely hear them because they're down off that bank. All of a sudden, Millie pops up. You can hear her good. She's coming straight up the ditch at us. Wide open. Me and my brother-in-law and Harold sitting there on four-wheelers. It's right on the bridge. We was right there by the bridge, actually. All three of them's after the same track. She's 500 or 600 yards ahead of them. They're running wide open, but she has done just left them. And I mean, she did this to dogs all the time, you know. And it was weird because we're sitting there, and here comes a car coming down the road. And you know how you can kind of see two things, boy, it's looking like they're going to meet at the same time. Well, where Bonnie, my Millie, is just coming up that ditch, coming right at the road. And we can see that they're timing each other, and they're going to run over her. We're flashing the lights. They ain't slowed up. And she's there at us now. And the coon, we see the coon come across, and the car ran over the coon. And this is how close she was behind it. She was going to catch this one. When the car ran over the coon, Millie went behind the car. Just like that. And the people got out, and they wanted that coon. Well, they throwed it in the trunk. Left. Well, old Dan and Millie knew they were done got caught. You know, they didn't want to come by us up there, so they scattered. But man, she could tree coons. It just made it look just effortless, you know.
Mm-hmm.
If I now know it now, what I know now, I knew then. It's hard to say what she could win because she was so accurate. The Bonnie female too. She was out of the same mama as Millie and out of Hardwood Buster. She looked a lot like Coma, just a small version. Like I never hunted with Coma, but I always heard he could really run a coon. And both them bitches they just ran tracks, you know. And it wasn't that they went looking for that kind of track. It just. They just, you know, it was nothing back then. People around here, you know how rough it is here. You go tree 5 or 6 coons, you've had a good night.
Mm-hmm.
That was nothing to them. I mean, if you went to 5 or 6 trees, you had 5 or 6 coons. I mean, it was just, you know, like now, you slick tree on your mind. With them two, you just, you know. And I finally talked Harold into letting me hunt Bonnie. I had took her and made her grand night just like one summer there, just pecking around the house there. And she could get it on both ends. But she was a little more timid than the Millie female. Millie, it come down to fight and she'd fight. Bonnie wouldn't. And we put her in a pro hunt. First pro hunt, put her in, and got her in the final cast. Had a dog fight in there. I never forget. It's the first time I met James Love. You know how small James is. man, we walking in there, and boy, you can hear it. They starting to get with it. They ain't locked yet, but it's getting close.
Heated.
And boy, about that time it broke out in there, and they were two big old dogs too. One of them was that high roller, used to be dog that guy over in Jordan. He's a good dog, and he wouldn't say he was mean, but it just. Him and that, there was just two that didn't.
Too much testosterone.
Yeah, two of them that, didn't need to be together. So little old Love, he takes off running up through there, and he comes back out with one dog in each hand, with their front feet off the ground, back up to them boys. Y'all gonna take these two to the truck.
Mm.
And I don't know what, it did something to that female. She never come back around. She pleasure hunting, she was fine, but take her to a hunt, get her around strange dogs. I don't know, I think something hormonally got wrong because she started having some like miscarriages.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember a night on a calf, she come up there and like was digging a bed.
Make a bed.
Yeah, we lay down in it and just, you could tell something wasn't right about it. And she got to treeing possums. And Harold's one of these types that he can't stand junk running. Another funny thing, she trees a possum one night down there right on the edge of the road. And I'd been trying to break her and whooping her myself. He said, you ain't doing a good enough job. And I thought, man, I can't. Oh, hell, the only way I can do is kill her, beat her any worse, He said, I'll show you how to. He got her. He is laying on the ground, on his side, on the ground. I get scared. I walk to the front of the truck. I'm kind of laughing, but I'm thinking, this man's went crazy. He is laying on the ground with her, got her head down in his hands, laying there screaming and hollering with that possum. I mean, it was just one of these, you just had to see it. I mean, like I said, he gets into this high voice. So it was just something. You just had to...
Spiritual.
Oh, my gosh. Let me tell you another about Harold real quick. So, some people may remember this. So, we're at the World Hunt. Harold, I was real shy back at that time. Now I talk to anybody, but back then I was shy. I was okay on a cast, but just as far as me and you talking or just going somewhere, it was hard for me to do. And so we get it up at the World Hunt. Harold's got like $3,800 cash in his pocket to buy a little English female from Troy Stockton. You remember him hunting? Used to hunt up there. Good boy. But so when we get to the World Hunt, when we go in, whichever way Harold went, I went the other way. Something was going to happen. So we up there, and matter of fact, I think, which we just talked to Barry a while ago on the phone, I think Barry Kitty was standing with me one time when this happened. We're standing there, and all of a sudden you hear this noise. Pow! Like a rifle going off. Everybody standing up and looking. Well, you know them white molded chairs, them plastic, like they used to have them at the World Hunt up there sitting around. Well, old Harold's done got in one of them and leaned back. And he, Harold's 300-something pounds. And the back two legs went off at the same time. He hits the back, his head hits the ground. And I'm like, I see he's okay, so I don't go over. I'm like, because I'm embarrassed, So we go on. So hour or so goes by, and I don't know who I was with. It may have been Barry at this time, but standing there, I hear that same noise. He's done broke another one, laying in there. He's up there by the stage. So the next day, same ordeal. We standing there. I mean, you can hear this from the front to the back when that thing popped. And he sure enough, pow! I don't even look. I'm like, everybody who's standing, I'm like, it's Harold again. He done broke another one. Well, Roy Trammell, he always took up with me for some reason. He come to me. He said, hey, he said, Dwayne, he said, you going to have to try to talk Harold. Tell him don't sit in no more of them chairs. He's done broke 3 or 4. And
he's going to bankrupt.
He's going to start paying for them. And I started laughing, and I thought, you go try to hit Roy and Harold to go out and eat a lot of times. We got pro hunts. I thought, you probably get as much out of him as I can. And we finally got him stopped from flipping them chairs and break. I mean, when they went off, I mean, it sounded like everybody would, jump and look. And it's old Harold. You'd see him over, he's big. He couldn't get off the ground. He'd be rolling around. And he said all he could think about was that money. So he had one hand in his pocket. And he said, I couldn't use 2 to get up. And he said, that's all I could think about was where that money was at. And but that joker was like that all the time.
I really hope y'all enjoyed that interview as much as I did. If you like what you heard here, go on over to Facebook, give us a like at Coon Hunting U. Also, go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and a review. It really helps us out. And remember, if you need a new hunting light, do not overlook Superior. They make an awesome light, best customer service in the business. Man, their walking light and double red is the brightest I've ever seen. Use coupon code CHU podcast at checkout at nighthunters.com. You can find the link in the description box below this. Coon Hunting University is a product of Audio Hound Productions. Until next time, y'all have a wonderful day.